Hello, everybody. My name is Thomas Evans, and I am here with you to present today's version of the IRA Toolbox. What we're going to get today is understanding case data flows, and this is part two. Last month, I actually did a feature on part of our case data flows, and so today I want to make sure that we can bring you the second part of this so that you can really get a thorough understanding of what's going to be taking place as we are in the process of developing what should be great partnership and relationship in your planning. So let's look at the overview and objectives for today. Basically, I want to give you an idea of what you should expect from this particular training. So today we're going to understand the dashboard structure. We have a dashboard on our RISE software. And once you get to that dashboard, it's going to explain the layout. It's going to explain for you how our rows are aligned. It's going to help you with planning and different scenarios that you may go through. But the first thing that you have to have an understanding of course, is the dashboard. The second thing that you should get from this is we're going to show you the purpose for our module roles. We actually have what's there. I want to show you how they're aligned so you can have a better understanding when you go to the software, what's going on. The third thing that we want you to learn from this is to have some confidence in how to navigate. Once I give you this information, it should give you a little bit of a gumption, if you will, make you want to stick your chest out a little bit and say, hey, I've got this. And that's the idea behind these videos, to help you really have some confidence in what you're doing, to help you be able to navigate and even explain this to someone else if need be. And then finally, the training goals. We want you to achieve simplicity. We want to make sure that you have the confidence that you need and the consistency in utilizing the software on a consistent basis. So let's look at the overall dashboard structure and what's going on. So once you log into Break Analytics, here's what you see. This dashboard. There's a whole lot of different modules there. And remember what I said earlier, we have them set up kind of as a module rows. So we're going to take a look at that so that you can get a better understanding of what's going on here. So the idea is understanding how the 3-row layout happens. And so there are 3 rows there, and let's go ahead and jump right into that. So now we have the first row, as I mentioned in the last video, but today I'm going to give a little more clarity about that. So you have your modules in the first row there. So when you look at the dashboard, I don't want you to just look, all across the screen. I want you to be specific. What is your purpose? What is your target? Who's your client? What is it that your client is looking for? What are you looking to do for your clients? That's a question you want to ask yourself, right? Once you have that question, then you get a better understanding of what's going on. So in your first row here, we call this the owner modules. So in other words, this is your planning while the actual owner is still alive. That means that the owner has control and flexibility in what they want to do. They make a decision. Hey, I want my RMDs. I want to make a Roth conversion. So the original owner maintains control over the account, and they're the ones that's able to have proactive planning opportunities and strategy adjustments. You also may have some optimization of distributions where you're wanting to minimize lifetime taxes and aligning the distributions with income needs for efficient long-term financial planning for the client. You have scenario modeling and comparison, but I like to consider the owner row as the control center for long-term decisions, because the owner is in control of what's going on. So again, you ask the question coming in when you look at the dashboard, who am I doing this for and what's going on? Is the owner in control? You're going to go to your first row and you're not going to look at anything else. At this point, watch this. We have the second row, which is your Pre-Secure Act modules. Basically, with the Pre-Secure Act modules, that means that these are beneficiaries who have inherited these accounts before 2020. There's a terminology that we use called legacy regulations, where they allow the clients or the beneficiaries to stretch distribution over their life expectancies. You can have various beneficiary types. You can have spouses, non-spouses, you can have trust and things like that. So each one requires a unique approach based off of that particular inherited account. And so with these legacy rules, we have to be very careful about what's going on and what's happening. And so we have the pre-secure, and then we also have a post-secure. And so what we've done in our software, we have three rows. We actually have separated the pre-2020 modules from the post-2020 Secure Act modules because they have different rules, and we want to make sure that from a compliance perspective that they're not crossing paths or anything of that nature. And there you go, the third row. These are all post-Secure Act modules. That means that everything after 2020, these are the rules, or the present rules are applicable to these particular modules. And in the post-secure modules, what you have are primarily, I'll say commonly, you're dealing with a 10-year rule. There's other rules that are there, but very commonly that 10-year distribution rule differentiates between your eligible and your non-eligible beneficiaries. This is beneficial for like tax timing and planning, and these things are very intricate because the timelines are so strict that if you don't do what you need to do at the time that you do, that could impact and have some major tax consequences for your client. So we want to make sure that we're doing things properly because there's a specific need for intentional planning here. The great thing about our software is you don't have to worry about a 10-year rule, 5-year rule, 20. You don't have to worry about the rules because our software has all the information in there. All you have to do is ask one of two or three questions. Here's the first question. The client, are they living or have they deceased? If they're living, then I already know that I want to go over to the owner's area, the owner's module, and work with what's going on there. If the client has deceased, now I'm going to look at either row 2 or row 3. So let's look at the decision framework and let's kind of apply some practical things to help us as we navigate through this whole thing. So there's a quick way to choose which module you're going to use. First, we're going to look at, as I told you, the owner status check. Determine if the original account owner is alive. If that owner is alive, then we know we're going to use the owner rule. If the owner has deceased, watch this. Has the owner deceased before 2020? Have they deceased after 2020? Those simple questions helps you really narrow down any challenges that you may have when you look at this software and you deal with our dashboard. Then we have the inheritance year assessment. If the owner is deceased, you want to identify, hey, are they pre-secure? Are they post-secure? And then finally, we look at the benefits of the framework. Using this two-question framework, it reduces errors, it improves confidence, and of course, we're in compliance. So we're really breaking down this in like simple questions, simple steps to help you begin to determine what your next step in your planning process is. Now, I want you to kind of look at our case data flow here. And so what I've done is gone into break, and I'm showing you that once you get into the modules, once you put your general information in there, the very next step is to your deceased. Once you get to the deceased, now you're determining, are they pre-secure? Are they post-secure? Your pre-secure, that's your 2020, and then you have your 2020 pluses. Your 2020 pluses are 2020 present. The pre-2020 is 2020 and previous. So we really have broken it down to help you simplify what you're trying to do, why you're trying to do it, based on the status of the owner and or deceased owner. So let's look at a couple of key takeaways and go ahead and get this closed out for you. One of the things that we want to give you as a final thought is to make sure that you understand the structure of the rules within our dashboard. We have the owner who's still alive. We have the pre-secure, post-secure. That helps for easier understanding and planning. Then we wanted to make sure that we empowered you as the planner so that you know the difference between the owner, pre-secure, post-secure, and you can address specific questions and support strategic planning and things of that nature. And then finally, my hope is that you've been able to build some confidence through clarity. So there's a clear timeline-based structure here. So that once you know what you know, you can teach it to someone else. You can help someone else learn what's necessary for this. So the object of these videos is to help you be able to navigate and know exactly what you're doing so that when you're in front of your client, you look like $1,000,000 because you have prepared, you have planned, and you've done everything that you needed to do to get yourself situated for your client's outcome. So if you need to contact us, I've got my email information on here, the phone number. My name again is Thomas Evans. I am the sales support representative. I actually wear many different hats, but listen, we have enjoyed spending some time with you today here in the IRA Toolbox. And keep this in mind. Anyone who does anything mechanically or they fix things or anything like that, they always carry a host of tools. You never just have one tool. I actually sit here at my desk. I've got like 5 or 6 pens, and I've got a blue pen, I've got a black pen, and I've got one with an eraser. And the point is, every tool has a specific reason. And with our software, you're going to have a specific reason for using it. So don't just feel like you have to use someone else's software or this or whatever. They all work together to prepare you for what you need for the situation that's there. When you open your mind and understand why you need various tools, it helps make your planning that much more effective. Again, I've enjoyed talking with you today. I look forward to the next edition of the IRA Toolbox. You have a great day. My name is Thomas Evans.